Imagine you are walking on a beautiful trail in the middle of a dense forest. You are with your family and your best friends, laughing while the sun filters through the trees. You stop for just a brief second to tie your boot while they round the next bend in the trail. Suddenly the forest goes completely quiet, as if the world has been placed on mute. You stand up and walk around that corner, but the trail is empty and they are gone. You call out their names, but there is absolutely no answer from the surrounding woods. You run 100 yards ahead, but find nothing but shadows and silence. In those few seconds while your head was down, the person you loved did not just wander off. They were effectively erased from existence in a way that defies logic. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is David Paulides, and today we are looking at a specific subset of the missing 411 research. I've spent over 20 years in law enforcement looking at thousands of cases of people vanishing in our wildlands. We are going to focus on the terrifying concept known as the point of separation. The point of separation is the exact moment a person is separated from their group and vanishes. What makes these cases different is the sheer and impossible speed at which these disappearances occur. We are not talking about minutes or hours of being lost in the woods. We are talking about people who blink out of existence in a matter of seconds while in direct proximity to others. Let us start with a very famous case from the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in June of 1969. 7-year-old Dennis Martin was with his family at an open meadow called Spence Field. It was Father's Day weekend and the atmosphere was joyful and lighthearted. Dennis was a bright kid wearing a highly visible bright red shirt that day. Dennis and his brother decided to play a trick on the adults by hiding behind some bushes. His father, Bill Martin, was watching him the entire time from just a few yards away. Bill saw his son go behind one specific bush and waited for the boy to jump out. After about 30 seconds passed without a sound, Bill walked over to the bush to find him. Dennis was not there, and he was not anywhere near the other children who had jumped out laughing. Bill Martin looked behind the bush, but his son had completely vanished into thin air. In that tiny window of time, a child would have had to run across open ground to reach any trees. Bill was watching the meadow, and he never saw that red shirt move or heard a single scream. This sparked one of the largest search and rescue operations in the history of the National Park Service. The Green Berets and the FBI were called in to comb every inch of that mountain. But then a massive and violent downpour hit the area almost immediately after the disappearance. This is a recurring profile point where bad weather washes away all potential tracks and scent. When the K-9 units arrived, the professional bloodhounds could not find a single trace of the boy. They did not even get a starting scent, as if Dennis had never touched the ground. To this day, not a single thread of that red shirt has ever been found in the park. It is as if the mountain itself opened up and swallowed him in total silence. Now we move to October of 1,999 inches. The Roosevelt National Forest, located in Colorado. 3-year-old Jaryd Atadero was on a hike with a large group of 11 adults. Jaryd was a very energetic child who was running up and down the well-defined trail. He was never more than a short distance away from the rest of his hiking group. 2 hikers who were not part of the group saw Jaryd and spoke to him briefly. He asked them if they had seen any bears, and they laughed before he turned to run back. The main group was only about 50 feet away from Jaryd at that exact moment. He turned a sharp corner to head back toward his father, but he never arrived. Think about that tiny window of time and the very small physical gap in that corridor. He vanished in a space of maybe 100 feet, while people were on both sides of him. The search teams used advanced infrared technology and dogs to search the entire canyon. One dog handler noted that the dogs behaved strangely and refused to track near a specific rock face. 4 years later, some hikers found Jaryd remains in a location that made absolutely no sense. He was found 550 feet up a near vertical cliff face. His shoes and his fleece jacket were found in near perfect condition despite the years past. The shoes were not scuffed and the Velcro was still done up as if they were placed there. I want to give you one more case that truly defies the known laws of physics. In April of 1952, a 2-year-old boy named Keith Parkins was playing outside his grandfather's house. His mother went inside the house for just 1 minute to grab a sweater for him. When she stepped back onto the porch, her son was nowhere to be seen. Searchers eventually found Keith 19 hours later, but the location was absolutely mind-blowing. This 2-year-old boy was found 12 miles away from the house where he vanished. To cover that distance, he would have had to walk faster than a fit adult hiker. He would have had to cross multiple mountain ridges in total darkness and freezing temperatures. When they found him, he was face down in the snow, but miraculously he was still alive. He had no memory of the journey and could not explain how he reached that distant spot. This is the mystery of the point of separation, where victims end up in impossible locations. It challenges our entire understanding of how quickly a human being can be moved or taken. Let us look at the facts and connect the dots of these missing 411 cases. The victims are almost always within sight or earshot of their companions when they go missing. There is a profound silence in the woods, and the canine units consistently fail to find scent. The authorities and the Park Service often seem to hide the data or refuse to cooperate. I want to discuss a theory that involves what we call high strangeness in the woods. Some witnesses have described seeing a distorted camouflage effect that looks like shimmering saran wrap. If there is something out there that can render itself invisible, it explains the silence and the speed. It explains how someone can be snatched right in front of us without a sound. If you are ever in the woods and the birds and insects suddenly go dead quiet, you must listen. If you feel a sudden sense of dread or see the air shimmering, you need to leave. Do not stop to investigate, and do not wait to see what might be watching you. This is the reality of the wildlands that the government does not want to discuss. Never go into the wilderness alone, and always stay within arm reach of your partners. Carry a personal locator beacon because it might be the only thing that saves your life. I want to thank you all for your support of the Can-Am Project and this research. I am David Paulides, and I am just stating the facts for you to consider. Stay safe and stay aware of your surroundings out there.